All right, good morning. Welcome back to my stream. Okay, switching over here and let's get going. What did we do yesterday? Yesterday we got all but one bug fixed in our lock spike code, and we determined that the last one was going to take some refactoring, so we decided to stop. I'll pick that up at another time, I'm sure. What do we have over here? Over here we have... Oh, it's still the lock spike code. Okay, so what we'll do is we're going to switch to our Kilo editor. And I don't want this anymore. I want to do the Clippy build. How are we doing with this? Okay, so this builds. That's good, but I think we're in the middle of modifying some code here, right? I should just delete all these things, but I'm using them for testing. Get diff. Right, we were in the middle of making gaps in our editor, and it wasn't quite working right. Let's start a new small narrow window that we can use to test the gap stuff better. 50 by 25. Okay. Documents dev kilo, and if I say cargo run. We had a t.c file, right? Yeah. So what's happening is this is wrapping correctly. I think. What did I just do? Quit. Something. Oh, I see what happened here. Yeah, this is too narrow. All right, so 50 is too narrow. We do have the code which automatically resizes, so let's make it 60. All right. So it is jumping the gap correctly. Oh, I think it's, if I go left, yeah, it jumps over here. Okay, so the feature we're trying to add is the ability to wrap lines. And the other thing here, hard wrap, insert a new line in the text, and then soft wrap. So we're on the soft wrap. Soft wrap. Okay, so let's see. Let's try to, yeah, let's scan over this to see what we're doing. Right, iter highlight no longer needs the end. right? Oh, just a bubble. Good morning. And Diablo's commenting on my Mac being noisy. Sorry about that. If I could afford a better computer that didn't have to run the fan when I streamed, I would definitely be doing that. Welcome, Diablo. Okay, so what we were trying to do is this soft wrap stuff. Iter highlight, right? Iter highlight actually creates an iterator over the highlight characters, and the highlight characters are just basically what color they should be. Diablo says, you could afford a computer if you didn't buy a Mac. Yes. I have no response to that. Sorry. All right. And then we have, well, right, we were creating a gaps array. So each line of the screen is going to have a count of how many lines we're off by. So here we're off by 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 1. Right now we're shifted down by 1. Right, we're on line 14 of the file, but line 15 of the screen. And that's what this gaps array is meant to keep track of. I think, right, so the first line should always be 0, right? We're on the first line of the file, or we're on the top line of the screen. It should have a 0 gap. And then how do we add to this gaps array? It says self gaps is vec new. Actually, that should just probably be self gaps clear, right? And then we should just push a new gap count each time. Where do we push the gap? Yeah, self gaps push gaps. Okay, so let's take a look at that screen code. And let's change this to a clear. And then we're gonna, I think what we need to do is self gaps push, right? Push 0, because the first line is always gonna have 0. And then I must have done something with the cursor. Let's take a look at fn move 2. Yeah, I had to subtract 1. Okay. So I think this should do the same thing. Let's find out. Quit. Let's make sure I got it right. Yes. Okay, so that's correct. So that's good. We don't have to subtract 1 there anymore now that we're pushing that first gap of 0. The next bug, I think, is if we go off the bottom of the screen, we should scroll up, but we don't yet. I think it's because we're going to self height, and we can't go to self height for the number of rows. Right, it needs to scroll up now. So I think what we have to do is say if row plus, and what was the value? Just gaps. Okay, row plus gaps is greater than or equal to screen self height. And then break. And then in the move to, we have to figure out, oh, you know what we need to do is make this configurable. Right. This should be configurable. So the screen should have a, right here we've got format of line numbers type, and then how much we need to shift the line numbers, and then I want to say, are we going to do soft wrap? And by default, it'll, oops, it's a bool, and by default it'll be false. Well, I'm going to make it true for testing purposes, and then we'll add it to our configuration thing. I think that's the best approach there. Oh, I already had this. Row plus gaps is greater than self height. Okay, what am I doing? I was thinking about the cursor, and then I decided we had to do that, and we already do it. So I have to say if self soft wrap end. Okay, now where else do we handle gaps? Okay, so this is printing the thing, and then here we only want to do the first. Oh, right, we need to calculate start and end based on whether or not we're soft wrapping, because if we're soft wrapping, we always want start to be 0. And if we're not soft wrapping, then start has to be column offset. So where do we define that? Okay, right. So if self.softWrap, then start is 0, else it's call off as usize. And then end, oh, we don't care about end if we're soft wrapping, but we do care if we're not soft wrapping. Okay, so is this off the screen here? It is. That's annoying. Ooh. So if we're not soft wrapping, soft wrap, then we just break at this point out of this for loop, right? So because we're only displaying that whatever that section of the screen is. And I guess we don't care about screen row count if we're going to break out of that. That starts out as 0, right? Yeah, it starts 0 here. Okay. And then it'll just be 0 here, and that'll get ignored. We'll reset the thing, and we'll push the gaps, and the gaps don't matter, or we won't care because the gaps will always be 0. Right? We'll only increment gaps if we come in here, and we won't come in here for soft wrapping. Okay, so far so good. And then the only other thing is this cursor positioning. If I go left from here, it should move the cursor to here. And it's not doing that. So that means we need to figure this out. Column wrap count. Self width minus the shift as U16 divided by... Oh yeah, so I guess we were trying to calculate this. We have the display width. We have a mod value. Is this render X? No, this should be pos X, right? For the column. Oh, I see. I was probably copying it from the previous version. Okay. So we know let's just start from the beginning and not worry about all this code. Let's just think it through. So we know that the width of the screen, we already have it. Display width, let's put that over here, is the width of the screen minus however much we're shifting over for the numbers. So now we know that anything over this has to shift down, like any cursor to the right of this, right? Because pos is the position in the file, not the position on the screen. So if pos.x is greater than or equal to display width, we know we have to add at least 1, and we might have to add more. So we can say let shift y is equal to pos x divided by display width. Right, and that's just a regular, that's a U16. Okay, so that's good. So that'll be integer division, right? If pos x is 1 or 2 or whatever, something small, it'll be up here. Shift y will be 0. If it's bigger, right now this is 60 wide minus the 5 for this, so if it's at like 70 or 80, it's down here. Shift y will be 1, so we'll be able to add 1 to our y position. Then the x position is going to change to, so let pos x is equal to if self dot soft wrap. If we're doing a soft wrap, then our x position is going to be pos.x mod display width. plus self ln shift. If we're not doing a soft wrap, right, because it's going to be whatever our width is shifted over by this much. If we're not doing that, then it's going to be wherever we are on the line currently, and I think that was the render x minus call off. Right, so that's our x position, and a y position if self soft wrap, then it's going to be our pos y minus the row offset plus shift y. We're going to ignore this gap row business. Oh, and we do need to add the gaps, right? Plus self gap of pos y minus row off as u size. It's this thing here. Otherwise, if we're not doing a soft wrap, then it's just going to be pos y minus row off. Right, and then all this stuff goes away. And then we just have to say, oops, move to pos x, pos y. Question mark, semicolon. And return OK. Well, it's a thing. Let's see what happens. All right, so that's shifted right. That shifted correctly. That shifted correctly. And that gapped down. So now I'm going to go left. Oh, it's still shifting. Oh, right. So we have to deal with the scroll part. And I think what's happening is we just scrolled over. And then we just put the cursor there, whatever that is. So something's bad. On our scroll code, we have to know whether or not we're doing this. Oh, or we can just ignore call off. Right, we can ignore call off if we are, render x. Yeah, that's okay. So in our screen, we can look for call off and make sure that we're ignoring it when we're dealing with soft wraps. Okay, so we don't want to do this unless not soft wrap. Right? That might be one of the bugs, and I'm sure there's other bugs. Right, and here's another one. We're subtracting call off from the length. Or where else do we use len? Well, that's the only place we use len. And it's only on end, and we don't care about end. Yeah, okay, so that might work. So let's see what fix that fixes. Go down, 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 and left, and it died. That's right, I have to redirect standard error to a file. So that works, going left from there. Going left from here, subtract with overflow at line 93. Oh, okay, yeah. We can say if not soft wrap, then we can do these things, right? Grab the len here, subtract the call off, Actually, we can just do it here, right? That means we can move this in. This whole thing goes in, and then we can just say else 0, because we don't care about what the value of end is. Right, and so then it'll be start plus this business here. All right, let's see if that builds. And we should be able to do this. And now we don't have any file. Oops. Oh, because end is 0. Where else do we use end? If end is greater than start. Ah. So then it should just be len, right? Rows, file row, render len. There. That works. Okay. Oh, now it's not soft wrapping. Oh, did I? What else did I mess up then? Because now it's like I turned off soft wrapping. Right, because it's just... I put the cursor in the right spot, though. Am I miscalculating start? No. If we're soft wrapping, start at 0. Otherwise, we started the column offset. Okay, let's see where else end is used, because that's the only thing I changed was that end. If end is greater than start. Oh, chunks end minus start. Ah, got it. We actually do need the screen width here. Self width minus self ln shift. Right? Oops. If and else have incompatible types and expected use size. There, okay. One more try. Okay, now it's wrapping correctly and it's jumping correctly. And if I go left, oh, look at that. If I go down a page, right? Oh, the cursor is still going down too far. We got to fix that. Okay. But this line here, what line is this? This is line 46 is wrapping. Let's see what happens if I go down. Oh, it crashed. Okay. So there's a bug here, line 219. Row offset must have been greater than position of Y. Index out of bounds. The len is 22, but the index is 22. Oh, right, because we're off the screen. Duh. Okay, so we have to make sure that in our scroll code, right? Let's get rid of that. We need to make sure that we're not off the screen. Self-screen bounds. I wonder if that actually needs to return the bounds minus the gap. Minus the final gap size, right? Can we do that? Minus self gaps last unwrap. There's always going to be one. And maybe that'll fix the problem. Ooh, now it doesn't even work. Option unwrap on none value. Oh, unwrap or 0. Can I do the unwrap or? Is that a thing? It is not. Expect a U16 found an integer. Okay, let's try that. All right. There we go. Look at that. Okay, now if I shift this off the screen, is it going to jump by 2? And it is. Look at that. And if I go up here, it should shift up by 2 as well. Look at that. Oh, look at that. It's a beautiful thing. And if I have multiple lines that wrap, which I should... Oh, I don't like the way the cursor bounces up, though. When we shift the screen double... Oh, here we have more than one gap on the screen, right? So if I shift double, right here, the cursor jumps up by 1. So it looks a little funny as the gap happens. Boink, 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 boink. See that? If I go up, it just goes up a little faster, that's all. Okay. I mean, that's livable. What if... Why did this suddenly oh, because the error file was there. I should put the error up 1 level so that it doesn't trigger the writes. If I change this to false now, we should resume the previous behavior. I'm gonna put this up a level here. Oh, but the cursor in the wrong spot. Okay, so we have to fix that. Position X, render X minus call off plus self ln shift. Right? I think that's the bug there. Oops. Yeah. Okay, and now we don't have any shifting at all. And there's no bouncing either, right? And I think if I go left from here, it should shift the whole screen over, and it does. Well, that's interesting. We don't render the deltas here. Mana says, looks like you need to sum all the gaps. Yeah, so actually what's stored in gaps, actually, why is it, this shouldn't be pub anymore. What's stored in the gaps, the last one is always going to be the sum of all of the gaps. Because I always push at the end whatever the current gap is. So this as we draw the screen, we keep track of the current gaps per line, and every line gets its own gap count. So they could all be zeros. But if there's 3 gaps, then there'll be like 1 added, and then the second one added, and the third one added, and the last one should have the final gap count. So if I shift like this, see, the delta came in, and now that's funny, the way the numbers just sort of come in. Destruin says, porting an editor to Rust, that sounds interesting. Are there any benefits of porting it to Rust? The biggest benefit of porting it to Rust is that I'm learning Rust. That's the whole point of doing these streams, is because I want to get better at Rust. And I figure if I take code that's not written in Rust and I make it Rusty, I'm learning more about how Rust works. And this is a neat little, let me just throw this in chat just in case. This is a neat little editor. It's a very tiny editor, but it's allowing me to improve my Rust skills. So that's the whole point. Okay. We have to fix this bug though, right? Because we don't want the numbers to just only appear if there's data there, if there are characters there, right? If I go here and here, those disappear, then the 5 disappears, then the 4 disappears. That's pretty funny. Okay, that should be an easy fix, right? I wonder if that bug existed before I made all these changes. Oh, I think I see the reason it's stopping is because of this thing here. Right? We're saying if our len is less than the column offset, which it is here, then just continue. But we should be doing this. Can we do this right at the top? Is there anything in here that we need for here? Maybe we just need, where's order? What's order used for? Used there, there, and there. So if I take this chunk and put it here, This should still build, right? Because I don't think there's anything here. Yeah. What is this crow business? Is that cursor row or something? Oh, it's passed in. It's cursor row. Why do I have to pass that in? Oh, to compare the cursors row versus the files row? But we shouldn't, we shouldn't need to do that. All right, well, let me see if this fixes that bug anyway. If I go here, oh, that's not going to be long enough, right? This will be long enough. Right. And now as the lines gets, oh no, the lines are still disappearing. The line numbers are still disappearing, but I put the thing right here. Oh, I didn't draw it. Right? I have to draw it. Right? Draw. There we go. Let's see if that builds. Okay. So go down to here, and then I guess we can go, yeah, so now we get the line numbers. Even though there's nothing on them, the line numbers are now showing up. They don't just slowly appear as the lines show up. Okay. All right, so now we just need to make this a configurable option. Because right now we pass in the LN format. Maybe what I need to do is create here's line numbers as an options. All right, well, this is working. Let's save this. Oops, quit. I can't quit out of, something happened here. Okay, there we go. Git status, git diff. All right, so this is working. We got all this going. It's kind of, I'm not sure we need this cursor row business though. I'll have to think about that. Git add source, git commit -m soft wrap lines. Tunk. Okay, yeah. How do you test something like this, right? Because you're testing. Most of this stuff is drawing on the screen. And how do you verify that you've drawn something correctly? I don't know if you can read the screen back. I don't think Crossterm has the ability to go to a location and read what character's there and what color it is. Oh, this is annoying. Why is that white? And this one's purple. I didn't notice that until just now. There's something wrong with the highlight code. Yeah, this is working with double quotes, but with the single quotes, it's not working. Or maybe the backslash is having an effect on it? Oh, let's see. If I add a backslash to the middle of this thing here. No. I would have thought that if it was the same bug, that would happen there, right? If I say, let's do single quote, tab. Yeah, see how that's white, and that's purple. That's backwards. So A, B, C, tab, D, E, F. Oh, look at that. So it's just with the single quotes that's happening, right? If I say bar, A, B, C, D, E, F. Oh no, it's happening here too. How come it doesn't mind it there then? Oh, it does. Oh, it's because this is white, but I can't tell it's white. Okay, so there's a problem here that the character after. All right, well, let's fix that bug. Is that in row? Yeah. So we're looking for highlight string. Of course, unfortunately, it's string. Highlight string. Okay. If we're in a string and we see a backslash, so we have, you say highlight this as a string. If we see a backslash, then we're going to highlight +1 and then skip 1 and continue. Is this skipping 2? And that's why this is ending up here? I must be skipping 2. I guess we don't need to do either of these lines, right? Because if we see a backslash, oh, we want to make sure that if we don't try to grab the quote. Amanda says, I feel it's also imperative, though. More idiomatic Rust would probably make greater use of traits and or generics. Yes, you're absolutely right. This is very C-like Rust. Right? I'm taking C code and I'm making it run in Rust. So, right, the better way to do it would be to sit back and figure out, like you say, the traits and generics, and probably make more use of the standard library than we're using now. And maybe that would be the next project, is to redesign Kilo to be fully Rust. And that would be a whole nother set of streams, right? The same issue goes for the locks code, right? The locks stuff we've been working on. The locks code are mostly C-like and Java-like for the two different locks interpreters we wrote. And I should make them Rusty, right? I should just say, okay, if we were going to do this properly in Rust from the beginning, how do we do this? Amanda says refactoring all that would be a pain. Yeah, I wouldn't even consider going the refactoring route. I would just, sit down with a blank slate and say, okay, we're going to make an editor in Rust. Here's the features. We can use the feature set that we've got from here, right? Starting with chapter 1. And then say, okay, how would we do all of this in Rust properly, rather than all this stuff, entering ROM. This is all like, we don't need to do this because we have libraries, right? That's why I'm using Crossterm. But there's other libraries out there too for terminal, Rust terminal library. There's a bunch of them. There's TUI, in fact, right? TUI is a neat one. Maybe we should use TUI, because then we could do all these things and we'd be able to create, one of the features that we want to add at some point, I've lost my list here, is multiple buffers. So that's where the TUI stuff would come in handy. And you could resize them and all that kind of stuff. So maybe that would be a good project, is to sit down and just do it all from scratch. Use toggles TUI, yeah. As soon as he gets his, what was he having problems with? He something modifiers or something like that. I forget what he was working on, but yeah, that actually would be, if it does get finished, when it gets finished, that would be interesting to try to go ahead and use. And maybe that's what I'll wait for. I'll use that as my excuse for not doing it right away. Okay, so we definitely need to highlight the next character, which we're doing here, but then we end up skipping this one, which is bad, because if there's a quote there, which we can see here, the quote doesn't get highlighted, and then we fail to recognize the end quote, and then all this I bet is going to be purple. Yeah, this is all purple until we see a proper end quote, and then it's white again. Okay, so this nth of 1 is actually skipping 2. And I can't go nth of 0, can I? Or maybe I can. Well, let me do that. Or we'll blow up. Try calling next instead of nth of 0. I certainly can do that. Will that work though? I thought we had an issue with calling next and it wasn't working properly. All right, let's find out. Quit, 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 quit. All right, so where was it? Down here. Okay, it looks like it's working now. That's good, right? Nope. I mean, I see this is purple, and this is not purple. Okay, and I can just go backslash, and then the whole thing becomes purple, right? Because I just did a backslash this. And if I do this, and if I comment out the quote character, then it becomes purple, and if I make it a slash, then it goes back. So we can do this and have it flash its way across the screen. That doesn't induce any seizures, right? Okay. All right, so that fixes that bug. Quit, git add source, commit, properly detect the end of strings. Oh, let's make sure it works in double. It should work in double quotes as well, and it does. Okay. This L would have been white if the bug was still present. Okay, so that was a very easy, the one-line change. Diablo says he's always having problems, but he also always solves them, which is wild. Well, I mean, he's a really smart guy, so he digs himself into a hole and then has fun digging himself out. And he's entertaining, a lot more entertaining than I am, so he's got that going for him too. All right, should we work on something else? Copy and paste, maybe? Oh, no, I was going to add this to as a feature. Right, so I want to create an options struct. Right, because we have the line number. Right. We have line numbers, and so that would be the ln state lines. Let's just call it lines, line, and then we're going to have soft wrap, which is going to be a bool. And then what we'll do, instead of having this here, ln shift is something I said I wanted to calculate, right? Because it's going to be the log of the length of the file, is the number of log base 10 of the length of the file is going to be the number of digits we're going to need to display the largest number. So the ln shift actually would change dynamically based on how many lines there are in the file. And so we'd be able to calculate that right off the top. And then add 2 or something like that for a little space between the number and the start of the file. Or we could put pipe characters all down. Would that be annoying, or that make it look better? I don't know. Okay, well let's get this going. So we're going to just have options here. And we can just make these pub. I don't care. And then so ln fmt changes to, oh, this should be options. And we want to make this copy clone. Right? So that we can just shove it in here. Options. Options lines, and oops, didn't mean to do that. ln fmt options lines. Okay, see now this is not rusty at all, right? We're comparing these things instead of like saying, checking with the options things, is saying, you know, something like if lines relative. Although I don't know if we want to do it that way, or if we want to say lines relative like that. Although, you know, we want to be able to compare against two different things, right? So here we're checking to see if it's absolute or relative. So maybe we just want to leave it this way then. There's probably a rustier way to do it. Let's reorder that. And then this goes away. And we're going to keep that, and this goes away. And then, so now soft wrap goes away. Oops, and this is options, soft wrap. Yep, we don't want double options. Okay, and then we need to be able to pass these options in from the editor. Oh, right. Where did we read the... Did we read that in here? Where did we read the file? The options file. I've forgotten already. Main? Yeah, so here's where we read it in. Okay, so we have this here. Line numbers is this, and then we want to set comma. Soft wrap is going to be true. Well, I guess we have to two-string these, right? What did I do wrong here? Oh, I need a closing like that. There we go. That's better. Okay. So we have soft wrap, and now these are the options, and we want to actually convert these into an options thing. So when we call editor new config, oh right, it's in the builder code here. So this is where we're going to get the config. Line num config is this, and then let soft wrap config. Oh, see, this is annoying. All right, you know what we're going to do is we're going to create a little function that grabs these pieces of data out. Oh, how do we, that's really frustrating, isn't it? To get the data out of here. Okay, let's create a little helper function here. And read read config parameter, and we're going to pass in the config, which is this thing, and we're going to pass in a table, which is a string, and a key, which is a string, and it's going to return a string. Can I do this, or is that going to give me lifetime issues? And then we say if let okay, oh, option, because it might not be in there. If let okay table, not table, if let okay data is equal to config get table into then we're going to say table.get key into, else none. That's not much of a helper, is it? That would allow us to change this to be let line config is equal to read config parameter display config. Oh, I should put this on config itself, right? Display and oh, except config is not something I own, right? Display and line numbers, and that would read that value into a string. Match, right? Like that. And then it's just this stuff here. So that is like, yeah, it's not saving us much. It's just one line shorter. If so, okay, so this is where Rust's traits come into play, because what we could do is make all these configuration parameters implement a trait of being able to be retrieved from a hash table as a value and then convert it. Yeah, and this won't even work. And then I say val clone, but why? We shouldn't have to do that. Let's see what happens here, because I think, oh, go away. If it, yeah, this should, okay. And I have an else line numbers off here. But I think that this covers all those cases. And this can go away too. Okay, let's see where this blows up, because this is probably going to blow up somewhere. Oh, I have to import the line numbers. Options, use, create options. And then in main, we have to include it. Just like that. Okay, we still have two errors. Can't find function read config parameter. What's this? Oh, I put it on here instead of as a separate function. Like that. That's better. Yeah, and so we can't do it that way. We need a lifetime thing. So can we just put shove the lifetime directly in here? And maybe we need it on config too. And we don't need to into string it, right? We just know that it's going to be a stir, so we don't have to do any of that. We can just say match val as stir. Okay, so it does save a little bit of work. Doesn't work though. Line num config. Oh. Expected struct options. Oh, right, yeah. So now we have to create a new options thing here. Let options of line numbers. This line num config. I did make them pubs, so I can just do this in the soft wrap. I'll just put true for now, and we just pass in options. And what's wrong here? Options does not have this field. Oh, it's just called lines. Okay. Table get cannot satisfy slice index. Oh, data. Still not good. Mismatch types. Option A stir. Oh, I have to sum it? I thought this was a sum. Yeah, it's an option. Oh, it's option value. What value? Oh, this is value from the config. Oh. Okay. If let sum val is equal to this, then we're going to say val sum val dot into stir and see if that exists, else none. Else none. Does into stir exist? It does not. Okay, so we have to look up config. Do we have that still here somewhere? We don't. Binary search. Why do I have two of these? I don't need two of these. This is the LSP code. This is this. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll look docs.rs. Config builder. Yeah, look at that. It's still in my history. So there should be a value type. Let's look here. Structs, value kind, value. And then it should have into string. So can I do into string as stir? Or should I just clone the string? No. Oh, okay. Can I do that? No. I don't want to do a direct unwrap in case it fails. Let s equals val into string. If let. See, now I'm getting crazy here. Let data equals this, data else return none, right? So that extracts the data. Data is now this hash map thing, and then we can say let val equals, if let some val, need a key into, then it's val, else return none. And now val, it should be a value, and now we say if let config data equals, I don't know what you want to call it, we can call it val again, right? If let some val equals val into string, val else return none. Right, and now val should be a string. Oh, shouldn't this be a string? Into string, doesn't that? Okay, I messed something up then. And I'll just put a none down here. Oh, I missed this. That's what I messed up. Val, bang, doesn't like that at all. So what does into string return? Yeah, it returns a result string. Oh, result string. If let some OK val. There we go. Now it's a string. And so now we can say val as stir, right? Nope, we can't. Oh, some. And now default config doesn't work. Collect value type hash map can't be built from standard string. Oh, I didn't do into over here. That's why. And now that doesn't work because it doesn't implement the copy trait. Oh yeah, and this is where I had to do the clone. Nope. Can I do a ref val here? Nope. It creates a temporary value. I see. Returns a value referencing data owned by the current function. Yeah, so this is creating a temporary value. That's why I thought maybe the clone would clone our way out of it. What is the error for clone? I didn't even look. I just saw it didn't work and I gave up. Method cannot be called on results. Oh, okay. So maybe I want to clone it down here because this undoes the result thing here. Nope. So none of this works. Value does not implement copy. Val is borrowed here, returns a value. Yeah, so I figured that this would clone our way out of it, right? Because we have it borrowed here. Oops. Oh, shoot. I've lost my place now. I was an editor? No, I was an editor. Right? At the bottom, yeah. Okay. If I look at this type, oh, I don't have LSP yet. There it goes. Hello. There we go. Val is a string. This says into string. Returns a result string. Returns self into a string if possible. But it's returning a string. A temporary string. And we don't want to be able. Can I do this? I tried ref. Ref didn't solve it. And this doesn't solve it either. Expected struct string, found reference, help, you can probably remove it. No, I can't. And if I do ref, it doesn't work either. I can't do as ref here. That's one, oops. Yeah, all I want to do is look at what the result is. Can I just return it directly? If I say let match val into string. Okay, val.clone. Ester. Error E. None. And this is the other option. Some. No, we still have the move. We're still doing the move thing. So how are you supposed to even care? I can say string from, right? Can I let val equals a val, a string from val into string, unwrap, or this, and then just some val, master. No, because we're still creating this temporary value here. Else. Yeah, I'm still doing that. Wow. So how do you even retrieve this data if you can't? This part I get, right? We're not creating it this. The idea is I wanted to be able to just return a reference directly into the config thing. And I thought that val up here is a reference to the value in here. And then when we do into string though, it's creating a new temporary value that we're going to return here, and we can't. So can we just return a string directly? That way we don't have to and then we don't need the lifetime stuff, right? Oh, I put a thing here. Okay. Yeah, and then I think all the lifetimes can go away. Because the only reason we were putting the lifetime in there is no mismatch types. Oh, some. Oh yeah. I don't want to do that. I want to say option string on it, and then I want to say if it doesn't unwrap, then I want a none. Okay, hang on. Before I do that, let's see if we can just say val into string. Okay. Because that OK returns the results. Yeah, so we can't. That's an option string. And it's still doing the move thing. And I can't say clone, because we're cloning the result type. Wow. This is painful. Why is this so painful? All right, so I can say this though, right? Right, and then let v equals this, and this is going to be a string. And then we can say if v is empty, none, else some v. That's all I was trying to do. And it's still doing a move? Cannot move out of star val, which is behind a shared reference. Okay. If I change this from option string to this, and I change this here to this, and I get rid of those lines there, right? Now it's no longer here. So I should be able to just do this, right? Oh, Aster. Not quite. Oh, now we can't return none, but I can return to string. Oh boy, this is more painful than I could possibly imagine. And we're still doing the move. Oh my god. All right. I didn't realize the whole screen would be fighting this ConfigParser thing. There's probably something really, really obvious I'm missing. Can I make this a result string and then do it that way? What was the other side of it? Config error. Right? And I can just say this. Oh, we have to pull config error in. Oh, right. And unfortunately, the result, I'm pulling this result from crossterm. What's the standard result? Where does it come from? Core result. And I can't do that, but I can say, okay, maybe. WB Smith. Thank you for the follow. Please let me know how to pronounce your name. Maybe it's WB something. I'm not sure. Diablo says, fight the parser. That's what I'm trying to do. And I'm losing badly. Method not found. In option string. Oh, okay. So maybe I can do an unwrap. Or here. This is really bad. Unwrap it and convert a blank to string and then as stir. And it doesn't like this because this doesn't have an OK on it. And now we have the move. Amanda says, oh, maybe Amanda has the answer here. Amanda says, val comes from config, but you only have it borrowed in the function, so maybe that's why it doesn't let you move it out. Oh, you think if I change this here to that, but then it'll move config in here, and I don't want to move config, right? Because I need config to pass in to my editor, because other things. Oh no, maybe I don't. But I do need to be able to read from it multiple times, because it's not just the line number configuration we want to put in here, but the soft wrap thing. Well, let's see if let's see if this changes anything. No, that didn't help, unfortunately. We have the same error. And if and you can't clone the result, right? That's the whole thing, is you can't clone the result. The method cannot be called on result. And if I try to do a match on it and get it an OK, that should be a string, right? There's a shortcut for this. That's probably question mark, right? But we don't need that. Yeah, and this is move. Can I do that? That doesn't make any sense at all. Expected enum configure found configure. Can I clone a configure? Yeah, this is still move. Okay, so the question is, I want to get this value out of this function, and I can't. There is absolutely nothing I can do. Maybe if I do this. That's an unknown now. expected string found reference. Probably remove the explicit borrow. No, I want to definitely borrow it. I definitely want to borrow it. Can I do this? Oops. No. Wow. Wow, why is this such a pain? I mean, I don't like doing all this crazy stuff either. I definitely want to return an option, right? To say, okay, there is a config there or not, right? I definitely want to do this. But I can't clone. Can I do this? Let v equals val into string question mark semicolon. And then what type is v? Is a string, right? So then I should be able to say some v. Expected closure that takes 0 arguments. Are we getting closer? Let's just do unwrap like this, right? No. Question mark operator can only be used on options, not results. Oh, because I'm returning an option. So I can convert it into an option this way, right? Nope. And then we still have to move. How are you supposed to get a string out of this thing if you can't? Oh my God. Oh my God. I don't understand this at all. I've been doing Rust now I've been streaming Rust for like, what, 8 months? And I'm baffled. I'm completely baffled. Right, because I should be able to just do this, right? To convert the result into a string versus a none. But the problem is that this moves the data. And the clone after the OK? Nope, that doesn't even help. Because we're still moving it. Can I return? Oh, if I turn a reference, then I have to add all the lifetimes. And we're still expected string found string. Yeah. Is there any other thing we can get out of here? Maybe it's just the string type that's bad. Try deserialize. Attempt to deserialize a value into the requested type. I could try that. Oh, I don't want to deserialize because who knows what the representation is. I can clone, impl clone for value. In terms of copy the value, read more. Okay, I'm reading more. So I can clone it here. Oh, right. I don't think that's going to help. What? What? Okay. That helped, and now we don't need configure anymore. Get rid of those braces. Now we don't need key into. Accidental fix. Yeah, it's one of those things where you play whack-a-mole with the errors until something happens. So all I'm doing is creating a clone of it, converting it to a string, and then converting the result type into an option type. Okay. So let's take a look at line 740. We don't need the into. Oh, right, we can just say that. Okay. Let val equals data. Now that we can do this here, right? Now watch this, this breaks everything. Oh, it works. Okay, good. And now we can do the same thing with this, right? Except this is a result type. Oh, is Rust automatically converting the no, this is an option. Right? That's returning this is returning a hash map. Hash map returns an option. And so it's returning that. And the get table, what does get table return? It returns a result, but this is telling me here that it can automatically convert. Oh, Hussein, thank you for the raid. Much appreciated. And Paneldia 07, thank you for the follow. How did I miss the raid? Apologies for that. Okay. So it looks like we can say this, right? Oh, I have to OK it first, so it won't automatically convert it. All right, so now we can do the whole shebang in one swell foop, right? Config get table, and we don't need the into. Dot OK question mark. Dot get key question mark. Dot clone dot into string dot OK. Huh. Well, that's interesting. And then this works with an unwrap as stir. I don't want to do an unwrap though, because if we return none, this is going to blow up. And I want to stir so that I don't have to put strings here. So let LNO is equal to, if let line numbers is equal to match config parameters, and this is going to be some like that, then I'm going to say match LNO stir. Does that make sense? Oh, and then we need to return none if it doesn't. Oh, line numbers off. There. Huh. Okay. This is still kind of annoying. Maybe I can create a trait. So this is where going back to what Mana was saying before. I could create a trait on config that'll allow me to do all this crazy stuff. And then create a trait on, or a thing on line numbers that will convert from a string into a line number. Right? I can pass the type in this way and have it be the return value, the return type, and then convert it based on the string. And that would be, I think, a more rusty way to do it. And we still haven't done the soft wrap thing. So let me get the soft wrap thing done first, and then we can do this. So let soft wrap equal. So we can just use the same code. Oops, I forgot the last brace. And display soft wrap. And then it's either going to be true or false. Or true or anything, right? So soft wrap, false. Right, so this we can simplify. Oop, I forgot the comma there. And then this just becomes soft wrap. There. Right, so now I believe, oops, try this matches. Oh, that's even nicer. Matches, bang. Soft wrap ester, comma true. Right? That's clean. Okay, so let's see if that works in terms of our config files. Config kilo init. And we can say soft wrap is false. Right? And then we're going to run. And soft wrap is indeed false. And now I should be able to change it to true. And now it's true. Look at that. Fascinating. Oops. It died. Oh, brilliant. It died. Oh. What happened? I did this, and then it died, and there's no error? Just, oh. Alright, I put it back here. Index is out of bounds. The len is 21, but the index is 22. Okay, so we have a bug. Screen 219. Pause Y minus roll off as use size. Oh, but right, we can't do it straight that way. We actually have to handle the fact that there are gaps in the way. I wonder why this didn't come up already. Because we can't, yeah, position Y, row offset. So what's happening is it's looking for a gap on the last line, and there isn't one because we didn't display as many lines as we thought we were displaying. And I think it was just trying to go to the final line of the file, and it just didn't get there. Because we only displayed, the length is 21, right? So we only displayed 21 lines, but we were looking for the 23rd line. Because of the gap situation. Ooh, so how do you fix this one? Position Y is the line in the file we're trying to be on. Row offset is how many rows we are into the file from the top of the screen. Shift Y is how many lines we have to shift because the the cursor's column was wrapped around. And then this, I don't think we can use this as our gap calculation because pause Y might be too far down. I wonder if that needs to be handled in the scroll section, right? Yeah, so we have this here where we return the bounds. The last gap is going to be how many lines of height we actually have that we can display before we have to start scrolling. Was it because I was going to the end of the file? Right, here we are. Oh, I don't even know what line we're on. Oh, that's interesting. It says 3 here. Let me run this one more time. If I page down, shows that we're on line 44. If I page down again, that's when it fails. Oh, because we're paging down by the height of the screen. That's what it is. So let me take a look. Maybe the page down code needs to handle things differently. Oh, it gets the screen bounds, right? Okay. So if we're doing a page down, self cursor y is the raw offset plus a bounds y minus 1. Dot min self rows len is U16. Oh. I guess we could do that, right? dbg self cursor y, and that should output it to Rust compiler broke. Let's do this, and we'll take a look at what we're doing here. So we do page down, crash. So we see 21 and then 44. And how many lines are there in the file? 526. So it's not that, oh yeah, it said right here, 526. So it's not like we're hitting the end of the file and then trying to do some weird offset thing. But cursor y is going to 44. We have to then scroll. Oh, I see. Then we're calling move cursor down. So it's just going down however many times we calculated bounds y to be. And bounds y already subtracts. So that means if I just push the down arrow 44 times, it's going to also fail. No. Oh, you know why? It's because we're not redrawing the screen each time, so we're not recalculating the gap situation each time. Oh, okay, that makes sense. Because every time we scroll the screen down, the whole gap situation can change, right? The number of gaps we have on the screen can change. And we're not redrawing the screen every time we call move cursor, because that would be a huge waste. Right, we're just incrementing cursor y by 1. That should be fine, except for the fact that if there are gaps on the screen, now suddenly the cursor is off the screen. So we have to say, after we're done moving the cursor, right, we're going to redraw the screen. In self scroll, we have to check, after draw rows, that's the other thing I want to do, is see if we could remove this self cursor y business. I guess it needs to know where the cursor is, maybe, when we're drawing? Maybe not. Okay. So we may have gone down too many lines is the problem, is that we need to do that, then redraw the rows, then recalculate the scroll position. because we don't want to call move to if where do we call move to here? That is in here. So we call refresh screen, which does all this stuff, and then we want to reset the Y's cursor position, the Y cursor position, if draw rows resulted in fewer lines on the screen. Yeah. But it also means that the line that we think we're on is not the line we're actually on. So after we call draw rows, we want to get the final gap and move the cursor.y, self cursor y, to the last line of the file. After we do editor down, right? So after we do this loop, we want to reset cursor y to be bounds, row off plus bounds, right? And that's what the scroll is supposed to do. So after we do this, right, then we call self scroll. Okay, so in self scroll, then here's where we get the screen bounds. We have to make sure that cursor Y is still on the screen. Because if row off plus cursor Y, that's it. If row off plus cursor Y is greater than the screen bounds, then we have to set cursor Y back to this to being on the screen. So let's do that. I think that's all we have to do. If self.row off. Oh, did we do that after we? No. Because here's where we're calculating the row offset. If self cursor y is less than the self row off, then we're going to move the row off up to where cursor y needs to be. If cursor y is greater than or equal to row off plus the bounds, then we're going to set the row off to the cursor y minus bounds of y plus 1. But if, okay, if cursor y at that point minus bounds y, oh no, we should see, yeah, this is, we don't know it yet because we haven't drawn the rows. So it's only after we draw the rows that we have to adjust the Y position on the screen. So now we say let bounds equals self screen bounds. And then we're going to say, oops, if, nope, if bounds.y plus self row off, no, if, right, self cursor y is greater than or equal to that, then we're going to say self cursor.y is equal to self row off plus bounds y plus 1. No, minus 1. Okay, let's see if that fixes it. I wonder if there's a similar issue with the column. All right, we'll go page down, page down. Not quite working. Not quite. It's almost working. This is the row we're on, but it's showing that we're off by 3 here. Now if I push the up arrow, then it all fixes itself. But it should be saying 65 here. And the reason it's not is because, right, we were on that other line, 68 or something like that. In fact, we can see what line we were on. Oh, it didn't print out yet. It just said 44. Okay, let's get rid of that DBG before I forget to. And then, so it's almost, we're almost good. The problem is this draw rows. The order in which we're doing things is, I mean, it has to be in this order, right? We've got to figure out where we are, clear the screen, we draw the rows, and then we got to see, is the cursor still, based on the new screen bounds, is the cursor still on the screen? And if it is, then we're fine. If it isn't, then we have to redraw the rows with the cursor in the same location, because the gap changed. Let me see what does this look like here. If I go down and then down, and if I push the down arrow now, it just jumps. So everything looks okay except for everything looks okay except for the line numbers. The line numbers are wrong. And we won't know that until we've drawn the whole screen. So maybe there's something on screen where we can call and say, calculate screen bounds. Before we do all the drawing, maybe it shouldn't be part of the drawing code. Maybe it should be part of like given this row offset, calculate the gaps, and then draw the rows. Because calculating the gaps it should be fast, right? All we do is loop over the rows starting from row offset and then count how many rows wrap and what the wrapping is. We don't care what the gaps are. We just care about how much wrapping we do. That's the only thing we care about, is how much wrapping we do. Okay. So we can do that. Self-scroll, self-screen clear. Maybe we can make it part of the clear, right? And we can just pass in the row offset. At that point. This can then, if we're doing soft wrapping, we can calculate the gaps, and if we're not, we don't have to do anything. And then draw rows can just use that gap information. Is that a better way to do it? Or maybe this can just return the number of rows. Row count. And then we can say our cursor Y, if a cursor Y is greater than our row count, then we're going to adjust the cursor Y. Right? That's this line here. If row off plus row count equals self cursor Y, then self cursor Y is equal to row off plus row count minus 1. I assume I'm off by 1 here. It's probably a bad assumption to make. Okay. So now we just need to change this code here to say if self options soft wrap. We'll start with the row offset that we're on. Oh, we have to pass in the rows then, right? Dang it. Self rows like that. And so we can just say rows is equal to row, and then row off is U size, or it's U16. I forget what it is. Let's find out. It's a U16. Okay. And if we're doing that, let offset row count is equal to that. And we clear. Actually, we can do it after, right? You can just say okay of this. If self options soft wrap, and we do the calculation, else, oops, why did I do 3? Else 0. Right, that's all we have to do. And then just change this to be U16. So now we're going to say let mod count is equal to 0 while for r in rows of row off dot dot. Can I do that? Oops, gotta do that too. And then just return count. Do I have to put an iter here? No, I don't. Okay. We can just say if we know that the gap count is going to be r.len, the row length mod, self width minus self the shift. What was the shift? I forgot what the shift value was. ln shift. And we set ln shift to be 0, right, if line numbers are off. ln shift. Mod divided by +1. Right, because there's one for that and then 1 for every row that's beyond. And this fails because self row off plus row count. It should be self also. And this doesn't like this. Slice indices are type usize or ranges of usize, so I have to say as usize. And it doesn't like that. Oh, right. I only want to go until count is how many rows do we want to look at? Right? We want to keep going until we've hit the display height. Oh, we only want to count 1 row. Let display height. So I actually want, this is display height. And count plus equals 1. And then we want to return the display height. Oh no, we want to return the count of rows. And we want to say count is 1, display height is that. If display height is self greater than self height, break. That's when we break. Okay. Now it doesn't like this because we need to make an iterator out of it. Oh, no, I don't want to mutate it. I can do that. Expected use size. Okay. And here we expect the view size as well. Oh, mismatch types. Expected U16, found U size. And now this clear fails because we want to clear the screen. And this is in editor, so we can actually pass in rows, right? Self rows 0. Because all we're doing is clearing the screen. I wonder if I should make this an option so that we can not bother calculating it when we're dying. Because we're still calculating it when we're dying. Ooh, that's weird. Why is the cursor down there? It should be right at the top. I'm pushing the up arrow, it's not working. Pushing the down arrow, that's working. I can't push up arrow anymore. Ha! I completely broke it. If row offset plus row count is greater than cursor Y, then cursor Y gets to be set to that. Oh. It's the other way around. Right? We want to see if the cursor Y is greater than this, then we want to set it to that. Okay. I want to understand how my brain got that backwards here. Okay, so now we got this. This is working. The gaps are working. I say page down. Page down. Yeah, so it's working now, right? Now this line number is correct, and these line numbers are all correct. And we're skipping over the gaps correctly. I still don't like the cursor bouncing when it's doing. Ooh, that's interesting. We have a problem here. Oh, that was a wrong down arrow. There we go. Okay, so we're not able to go down. That's interesting. If we wrap at the wrong place, see this? I push down, it goes to 31. Push down, it goes to 132. That means our scroll. So our scroll, we're trying to scroll down, but then we reset it here. I wonder if that means instead of changing the cursor Y, we should increase the row offset. Instead of moving the cursor Y back up 1. If we're just moving down 1, we still need to move down 1. You know, unless we reach the end of the file. Okay, so maybe that's going to have a different problem, right? Self cursor Y is greater than self row off plus row count. Then we want to set self row off is equal to self cursor Y minus row count. So we change the row offset instead. Okay, let's see if that does anything here. Page down, page down, page down. Page up. Okay. It still does this bouncy thing, but at least it moves, right? I don't like the bouncy thing. We should just move down two lines instead of bouncing. 17, 18, see how it goes up, then 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 4, because we're scrolling up 2 lines, but then we want to be on that 1 line. Yeah. Bounce, 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 bounce. Well, I mean, it works. At least it's working right now. So that's good. So let's get diff. Oh, right. Okay, so the other thing is I wanted to fix up how we handle the config stuff. This took a while to get, right? Okay, so git state, git status, git add source, git commit, read soft wrap from options, and fix page down scrolling. Doing two things at once. That's not good. Oops. There are some code style issues. Run cargo format first. Really? Oh, is it because of this? Yep. This is a blank line. I don't know why the cargo format from NeoVim didn't fix that. Okay. Git push. I think we're done. I think we're done with today's stream. Tomorrow's stream will be working on the config file some more so that we have a better interface for it. I don't know where yeah, here it is. So we did a few things. Not too much today. Soft wrap lines, properly detect end of strings, and then read soft wrap from options, and fix page down scroll. There we go. All right, well, thanks for hanging out with me. Let's see. Yeah, we'll call that a stream. Take care, everyone. And I will see you next time with a little more editing. All right, take care.